And in this video, which is going to be about anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to present several details of simple present tense. And before I get into the details of simple present tense, let me give you an overview of the presentation. Yes, this is the overview of my presentation. Now, first of all, we will discuss the structure, and later it will be followed by the uses and the language indicators, which will help you to identify that this is the simple present tense, and this is followed by some exercises, and I'll try to solve the exercises for you. Okay, and then let's get into the subject. See, the first thing is the structure of the simple present tense. The structure of the simple present tense is that we have to use the verb in the first form, that is the verb in the base form, depending upon the subject that you're using. For instance, if you're using the subject I, you, we, they, then you will use only the base form. But if you use the subjects he, she, and it, then you need to use the base form plus yes or es or ies. Sometimes it could be ies also. So therefore, this is I eat, we eat, you eat, and then in plural also you eat, and then they eat. But when it comes to he, she, and it, you need to add yes to the verb. Then it becomes he eats, she eats, and it eats. It is not given there, but then third person singular, it is. So in the negative, the verb forms I eat, you eat, and he eats. And in the negative, it becomes he doesn't eat. He does not eat is the expansion form, and he doesn't eat is the contraction form of the verb eat, and it is in the negative. So the other structures can also be observed, as in the case of question and negative question. So the important point that needs to be remembered is that in simple present tense, we use the verb in the first form. As we know that there are several verb forms. The verb in the first form, that is present form, and then verb in second form is used in past tenses, and the verb in the third form, that is past participle, is used in perfect tenses, and then present participle, that is the verb in fourth form, usually it is called like that, and it is the ing form. It is used in continuous tenses, be it present, past, or future. Okay, so basically, with regard to the structure, what you need to remember is in simple present tense, you have to use the verb in the base form, the verb in the first form. That's about the structure of it. And let's come to the uses of simple present tense. See, one of the main purposes of simple present tense is to express the general truths and facts. General truths, we also use another term, that is universal truths. Anything is okay. Now let us look at one example. The sun rises. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Now what is the verb form here? The verb is rise, and what is the subject here? That is the sun. Sun, if you turn it into pronoun, then it becomes it. So because the subject is it, you have to add yes to the verb, so it becomes rises. So the sun rises in the east, again the sun sets in the west. We said this sentence, the sun rises in the east, is in the simple present tense. When we say the sentence is in simple present tense, it means that the verb is in the first form, and It is expressing a general truth, a general fact. So, what do we mean by a general truth or a general fact? That a fact is something that has been happening and it is happening right now, and it is also expected that in the future it will be like that in normal sense. So honey is sweet. So again here the verb in the first form. Fortune favors the brave. So fortune is singular. So we have added yes to the verb, that is favors. It has become, and then water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. So this is a universal fact. So this universal fact should be explained in what tense? Simple present tense. So to write a sentence in simple present tense, what you need to do is you need to put the verb in first form. Boil is the first form. What is the second form of boil? Boiled, boiled. But then you won't write boiled here because that becomes past tense. So for boil, you have to add s because the subject is water. And when you turn water into a pronoun, then you can understand it becomes it. Okay, so it is a third person singular, and so you have to add yes to the verb. Now, similarly, children need love is a general fact. So, one use of simple present tense is that it is it is used in order to express general truths or universal truths or facts. Another use of simple present tense is to express habits and routines. Now, if you look at the example, I get up every morning at 6 o'clock. This is a routine which is done every day. So, when you want to talk about actions which regularly happen, which usually happen, then you have to express that in simple present tense. To express in simple present tense would mean to use the verb in the first form. In this case, it is get. So I get up every morning at 6 o'clock would have the meaning, and that meaning is diagrammatically represented here. See, let us consider that now is 6 o'clock. Now is the time that I'm speaking. This is the time I made a sentence, I get up every morning at 6 o'clock. Now, what does this mean? I get up every morning at 6 o'clock. It means that in the past, I got up at 6 o'clock usually, and then in the future, also, I generally get up. It is expected that generally I would get up at 6 a.m. That is the meaning of simple present tense. That means the action has been happening and it will also happen in the future in general as a habit, as a regular routine. That is the meaning of simple present tense. So because the subject is I, we have used only get. If it is he, she, it, then you have to add s. But there is no he, she, it here. So therefore we use only the verb in first form, that is get without s. Now he speaks English very well. So that is his, it is, it is the the regular truth or uh, his general action in in the case of that particular person. So that is why we have used the verb speak in the first form, and because the subject is he, we have added yes to the verb. And similarly, my daughter works for international consultant office company, simple present tense, s is added because my daughter is she, becomes she. So he, she, it, she. And then my watch keeps good time. Our children sing the song very sweetly. My daughter Catherine goes to school every day. So these are all habits and routines, general actions which happen repetitively at regular intervals. And now come to the third use. Simple present tense is also used to talk about actions which are fixed and which happen regularly at specific timings as a part of some schedule, as a part of some timetable. And there are several examples that are given here. The first one is my office starts working at 7:15 a.m. and closes at 5:30 p.m. So this is a timetable. This happens regularly. And meaning wise, it's the same as the one that we've discussed before. It's a habit or routine, but in this case, it's standard schedules. So the train starts at 7:45 every morning. Every morning, this is also like a habit. This is also like a regular routine. But these are more formal ones. For more formal ones, we try to give another label for it, that is to express the timetable. But the nature of simple present tense is the same thing. That is referring to the regular routines. Okay, so the plane lands at 2:10 p.m. in the afternoon. The football match between Brazil and Germany begins at 13:55 p.m. and lasts 2 hours. So all this, the match between Brazil and begins and lasts. See, this is also verb. So all these verbs should be presented, should be used in simple present tense. That is the verb in first form. Now, going on to the language indicators. What are the language indicators generally used? So if you look at, you will find out in simple present tense two sets of expressions. One is the adverbs of frequency and the other one is expressions of frequency. See, you might see a range of expressions from never to always. All these expressions indicate the repetitive nature of the action, the routine nature of the action. So never would amount to not doing at any point of time. So the frequency can be given a rate of 100%, 0%, and then hardly, everly, slightly more than that, and then always being the other side of the continuum, where if you say that I always read newspaper, it is 100% you do it. So other expressions such as once an hour, once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year, twice an hour, and then twice a day, and then twice a week, and then twice a month. So these are applicable for all of these ones. Every hour, every day. Let us look at again. Every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year. So depending upon the frequency of the action, you can use respective adverbs of frequency or expressions of frequency. Okay. Now that's about simple present tense. See, there are also some other uses, but I'm not talking about those uses because there are some advanced uses of simple present tense and slightly complicated ones also. And for the beginners and even for the intermediate level, these three are enough. And then for further usage, you can refer to more advanced books. And I would like to focus only on these three in this video. So let's do some exercises. Yes, let's do exercise 1. Now what you can do is pause the video here and then try to fill these blanks, after doing which maybe you can take up 5 to 10 minutes. After that you can get back to this and watch for the solutions. Okay, yes. Now smoking, you need to use, see, in these ones you have to use simple present form of the verb, which is already mentioned in the directions. Now smoking is, so this is simple because smoking is singular and you need a verb in the present form, that is smoking. And smoking is a bad habit. And the next, it has become much smaller, a woman. So because it's a woman, we use she here. The pronoun, if you convert that into, it becomes she. So she means you need to add third es or es to the verb in simple present tense. So the answer becomes does, does. So she does her homework every day. Look at the expression adverb of frequency, every day. That indicates, okay, every day indicates that it should be used in simple present tense. Simple present tense means the verb in first form, and the subject is she, you have to add yes to the verb. This is the way you need to think. And now he dashed the plants every other day. Every other day means once in 2 days. Once in 2 days. That means very frequently. So water is used as verb, but the subject is here he, and therefore the answer is waters. You have to add yes to the verb because the subject is he. Now similarly, here I get up early every morning. Every morning indicates there is a frequency of this action. This is a general routine. Therefore, you need to use get here. You don't have to add yes to the verb because the subject is I. S is added only for third person singulars. Now look at this one, birds. What is the subject here? Birds. So birds would mean it becomes they. They. So it becomes they. So it is they, you don't have to add yes to the verb, so the answer would remain exactly fly. It doesn't make, you don't have to make any changes to the verb. What are the three forms of fly? Fly, flew, flown. These are the three forms of the verb fly. So you have to use the verb in first form. Birds fly. You don't have to add flies. That is wrong. Flies is wrong because the subject is they. It is not third person singular. And the next, my parents. My parents, when you put this one into pronoun, it becomes they. The subject here becomes they. So my parents, see here there is a negative word. There is negative. So my parents, you have to use what? You have to use not do not work. So the answer would be do not work. Now look at this, Amanda. Amanda is the name of a woman, and then she watch. So the answer becomes, see, she watches. So again, she here, you need to add yes to the verb, and then the answer becomes, and then his brother plays. Now here his brother becomes he, so the answer would be plays. Now he's here, if you see, it's a question. You can understand from this that this is a question. So, but the verb here is no. So because the subject, what is the subject here is? The subject here is you. So you have to add, what is that? You need to start a question with do. You refer to the structure in the slide before, how a question is made in simple present tense, you will understand this. So it becomes KNOW. Do you know the way to restaurant? Yes. This is exercise 1. Let's move on to the next exercise. Exercise 2. Again, pause the video for a few minutes, as much time as you want to take, and then get back to this video for answers. Now let me give you the answers. Here the subject is my wife, so third person singular, so you have to add yes to the verb works. Okay, here the instructions are wrong. You have to choose between fill the simple present form. You are not filling the blanks here. I'm sorry. You are not filling the blanks. You are actually choosing between the two forms that are given over there. So in this case, what is the subject? The subject is I, and so the answer is works. So you don't have to add yes to the verb because the subject is I. Now again, here start or starts, the answer is start because the subject is I. So this is wrong. Answer is start, the subject is I. Now here, my wife is she. If you turn this into pronoun she, so you have to add yes to the verb. So the answer is starts, and this is the wrong answer. And now here the subject is she, so you have to add has. You have to add has. For he, she, it, you have to add has. Okay. Now for yes, for he, you can look at in the chat box. For he, she, it, you have to use has in simple present tense. For I, we, you, they, you have to add have in the simple present tense. Just have a look at this. Okay, so because it is she, you have to add yes to the verb. And then here the subject is we. So what did we see already? If it is we, the subject, then the verb will be have. Has is wrong. Okay. Now here it is again the subject is she, then the answer is that you have to add yes to the verb, and the answer is finishes. And then you have I is the subject in this case, and so finish is the verb here you need to use. Finishes is wrong there. So she, so the answer is studies. Here study is wrong. Now I is the subject, therefore you need to use watch, which is right. Watches is wrong in this case. So you can refer back to the structure, go to the previous slides, and look at the structure, how it is used, so that you can reinforce the idea of the structure. Then moving on to the next exercise, that is the third one. Okay, so this is an open-ended exercise where you need to use. Previously, you were asked to choose, and now you will complete the fill in the blanks in this case. So water is singular, and here the answer is boil. But then because it is singular, you have to add yes to the verb, so the answer becomes boils. And now firefighters is plural, so the subject becomes they. And so firefighters, what do? They put out. Already put is there, so you don't have to add any yes to the verb because it is put. Next, most children, this is the subject here, because most children, when you put it into pronoun, it becomes they. Therefore you don't have to use yes to the verb. So they, what most children like to eat chocolate and ice cream. The answer is like. And the next, his parents. See, if you look at his parents is plural, so the subject is they. They seldom, so the answer here is go. They seldom here go to movies. Do we have any other verb here like watch? So nothing. So because to is there, go to movies. So you don't have to add yes to the verb because it is his parents. His parents would mean, when you put it into pronoun they. He is different from his parents. He means only one person, that is third person singular. But his parents would mean that we are talking about they, which is plural. Next, we, again, you don't have to add yes to the verb. So we, English lessons we have or enjoy, lose, tell, need. So I think here answer is we have. We have English lessons every day. The shops in this mall. Again, see what's the subject here? The shops. The shops is plural, so it becomes they. The shops in this mall. Uh, we're talking about open at 11 daily. Open. So O-P, open at 11 daily. So we don't have to add yes to the verb because the subject is plural, that is they. Now she is the subject, then it becomes she often. So this is what we need to use, lose. Lose, but the thing is here, because the subject is she, you have to add yes to the verb, that is loses. Plants. Plants usually, what is that? Usually need. So usually need sunlight and water. Now again here we have a question. So but the subject is what? You. Therefore you need to use do. Do you um, do you enjoy? I think. Do you enjoy listening to classical music? That's it. So because the subject is you, uh, we have to use do. Now practice is singular. practice is singular, and therefore, so make is something that goes there, but you need to add yes to the verb. So the answer becomes makes. So that's about the third exercise. Now let's move on to exercise number 4. So in exercise number 4, again pause the video and spend a couple of minutes, do this exercise and get back to the video. Now here the subject, the answers, coming to the answers of it, 22% of British families would make it plural, and so uh, what did they do? Go. See, the answer here is go. Okay, so we have given into 2, which means that it should be used 2 times here. So the average British woman, again, see, this is something related to weight, so we can use weigh. Weigh is the verb. Weigh. Weigh is the verb. But the thing is, here we are actually talking about a singular woman. That means, though it is used singularly, it represents to a broader category of British women. But then in this case, the structure says that the subject is singular, even though it represents to the entire class of British women. So you have to add yes to the verb. The average British woman weighs. You have to add yes to the verb because it is she. British teenagers. The subject is plural, so it becomes they. So British teenagers, um, much, but they. See, it is about read. They do not. So maybe you can talk about. They talk about do not. Sorry, it has become slightly messed up over there. So I might write the answer here. Do not read. So that is read. READ. Okay, I think you can get it. So do not read much, but they. But they. What is that we have? Yes, here watch. But they. So the answer is watch. You don't have to add yes to the verb because it is they. So the average British teenager, in this case it is singular. The average British teenager, we have at 7:20 means it is probably getting up. So what is that you can use? Gets up. Because it is singular, you have to add yes to the verb. And so it is gets up. A typical British man, again see, look at the subject is man. And then you have to add yes to the verb. So you have brushed and read have. So have here it is had have, but because it is singular person, that is he, man, you have to use has. But he again here it is related to hair, therefore we use not wash negative. But he does not wash, because it is he, you have to use does not yes does not wash. And then now see, British people, this is plural on average. So this is something related to cups of tea, means it is related to drinking. British people drink. So you don't have to add yes to the verb. Drink, the average British person, singular again here. So it is related to brushing. So but this is singular, so you have to add yes to the verb. Brushes. So then over 6 million British families means they. They they have a dog. Okay, because it is they. Next, the average British person dash to the dentist. That means go can be used one more time. That is, go to the dentist twice a year. British women. See again here, British women is plural. Mm, British women live. L-I live. So you don't have to add yes to the verb. That's about this exercise. Now let's move on to the next one. The last exercise. Again, take a couple of minutes, pause the video, and then answer them. And get back to the discussion. See, Elaine, Spanish. What about Elaine and Spanish relationship? He's able to. It's all about the verb speak. So Elaine, yes, he can speak English. So what is that we can use? Elaine speaks. Elaine speaks. But what about German and Arabic? Arabic he cannot speak. Therefore, say he does not speak. So he is there. Here somewhere he must be there. He does not speak. Yes. And the next one. So Martha and Anna. Martha and Anna are two people. And then what about the French and German? Martha and Anna. Both of them they are not able to speak. So because two persons are there, you have to use do not. So do not speak. Do not speak. But what is that? What is true about them? They no, of course, in all the cases it is a true table, of course. So, but they about Spanish. What is that? Yes, they speak. Both of them are able to speak. Okay. Next, what about Ahmed? Ahmed, English and Spanish. He's not able to speak any of them. So, because Ahmed is singular, you have to add yes to the verb. He does not. French and Arabic. Yes, he can speak. So, what you can do is you say he speaks. Yes. So this is about, yeah. So till now we have looked at simple present tense, the most important three uses of the simple present tense, and we've also done a couple of exercises. So you can watch the video again and then try to do the exercises. Suppose if you're not getting the structure right, try to watch the video a couple of times and then do the same exercise and follow the structure with which you can become stronger in simple present tense. So that's all for now. Bye.